That time for us now to turn our attention to the international papers. Diptyka Laurent is back with us in studio. Diptyka, I believe we're going to start with that murder of that Maltese journalist.
That's right, the Maltese journalist. It's a black day. That's what the Times of Malta says on its front page. This is actually the paper where the 53-year-old Daphne Caruana Galizia began her career. On another Maltese paper, the Malta Independent, they call it an attack on democracy and freedom of expression. Caruana Galizia was killed yesterday, of course, in a car bomb attack. She was iconoclastic, caustic, pungent in her writings. That's what the Malta Independent says in its editorial. No one was safe from her barbs. Her work was published on her blog that for many people was really the first thing they read each day. The paper says, just like Je suis Charlie, we should be saying, I am Daphne.
And of course, a lot of people are focusing on the investigative side of her work. She, wrote articles that touched the highest levels of power, including the Panama Papers that went right up to the Prime Minister's office. Is it her investigative side that maybe led to this attack?
Well, that's at least what the media is speculating on. She was indeed investigating the country's top leaders, including, as you said, the Prime Minister, Joseph Muscat, and his wife, accusing them of corruption with links to the Panama Papers scandal. Well, Muscat has said that even though she was a harsh critic of his, nobody can justify this barbaric attack. Caruana Galizia reported getting death threats to the police, according to Politico, and she had already escaped a previous assassination attempt. And in fact, the Politico says that the FBI is now stepping in to investigate her murder because her family has requested that the leading magistrate, who himself was targeted in her work, recuse himself.
Oh, okay. So we'll have to wait and see how that unfolds. Meanwhile, we'll move on to Iraq, and the army there has seized back the oil-rich city of Kirkuk. This amid rising tensions around that semi-autonomous Iraqi Kurdistan.
Well, Baghdad has taken back Kirkuk and dashes the Kurdish dream of independence. That's what Al Hayat, which is a pan-Arab London-based paper, says on its front page, noting also that Iraqi forces removed the Kurdish flag from the building of the Kirkuk province yesterday. Iraqi Kurdistan is losing its gamble. That's how one writer from the Wall Street Journal puts it. The city of Kirkuk, with a majority of Kurds, was taken back by the army, and it's really endangered the survival of the very existing Kurdish autonomy. Before that fateful referendum, things were looking relatively calm, at least according to this writer. Recent events have shown how badly the region's president, Masoud Barzani, has overestimated Kurdish military and political strength. And sadly, according to this writer, they're going to pay a heavy price for that.
Of course, Kirkuk, just beyond the border of that semi-autonomous Kurdistan region. Meanwhile, Diptyka, in India, the country's first transgender judge has given an interview to the national newspaper.
Well, India is really a country of contradictions, isn't it? On women's rights and bringing rapists to justice, the law can be abominably slow and one-sided. But in fact, India is leading the fight for transgender rights. Joyita Mahi Mandal is the country's first transgender judge. The 29-year-old was appointed 3 months ago to a local court in North Bengal, and she told the Hindustan Times that while she earns less now than previously, she's enjoying the rise in respect that her new position gives her. Her historic appointment was part of a series of appointing transgender people to positions of power. India recognized a third gender back in 2014 and is even now examining a transgender rights bill, remarkably advanced compared to some other countries, even if Joyita says more work still needs to be done.
Moving on now to some physics news, and we'll see if I can follow this, but scientists have made an amazing discovery. They've merged two neutron stars. Tell me more.
That's right. This is a really big deal. Astrophysicists have detected gravitational waves provoked by the collision of two neutron stars. Think of them as black holes, I guess. They were then privy to this explosion that ensued after that collision, and what came out were materials and debris sent out into space. And what makes this astonishing is that they were able to view this all from their telescope, which is something that previously couldn't be done. And they say the neutron stars produced about 10,000 Earth masses of precious heavy elements. I got that in. That's according to The Atlantic. The discovery basically confirms a long-standing theory that neutron star mergers, so these merging of these two stars, were responsible for most of the elements in the universe and pretty much makes up our existence today.
Okay, fascinating stuff. Finally, Diptika, there could be a new sport at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games.
That's right. It's only hypothetical, so I don't want to jump the gun. But that new sport could be pole dancing. Pole sports have been officially recognized by the International Sports Federation after an 11-year battle. According to the Daily Mail, pole dancing became popular back in the 2000s when people took it up as a sport or fitness and sort of shook off the sex stigma that surrounds the sport. They're now hoping to apply to the British Olympic Committee to have it recognized one day as part of the Olympic program. The International Pole Sport Federation, which exists, is now campaigning for it to be included in the Olympics, and that Olympics could be Paris 2024. Just for information, other sports hoping to make it to the Olympics include tug of war and cheerleading.
Okay, the pole dancing, I can see it's gymnastics. It's gymnastics.
But is it a sport? I'm sorry.
Tug of war is a bit questionable, I think.
Tug of war surprises me more, and Delano is clearly not impressed with the plans.
I saw him shaking his head, actually.
Yeah, is it just because you haven't got the hang of it yet?
I'm bad at it.
Okay, Diptika, thanks so much for that review of the international papers.